What's up, guys? We got Good Trouble. Welcome to Good Trouble Season 2, Episode 2, Torn. Okay, so this episode starts off with Malika going into Judge Wilson's office and, mad about everything that happened in the Jamal case last episode. And it's like, oh yeah, how dare you, Jamal Thompson, how could you do that to the mom of Jamal and that's and the police come in and are like, hey Callie, we need to talk to you, and Jamal and brings them up to Judge Wilson's office, where Judge Wilson is like, hey Callie, we need to talk to you. Was that Malika, the one that you live in the coterie with? And she was like, yeah. And she was like, did you tell her she's the one that sits Jamal's mom? And she was like, yeah, but I didn't tell her anything about the case. Yeah. And she starts saying about, and he's like, how am I supposed to hold you? What about if your son was black and he got let go or something? And he's like, how am I supposed to hold you accountable for this? And she's like, why don't you fire me? And he's like, Callie, if I could, I would, but I can't because he doesn't actually say that. He just says that if he doesn't want to fire her because she's the best person. But Callie's like, I quit. I came here to change the system, not for 9 months or longer. I quit. So Judge Wilson didn't fire Callie from his clerkship. Callie quit on her own. So anyway, so that's basically so Callie starts looking for other jobs, and Mariana even took her off the unlimited plan because she doesn't have a job, and Mariana does, and so anyway, so while Callie's searching for a job, she goes back to the coterie and gets drunk with Malika. And basically, while that's happening, Kyle introduces them to Elijah, the guy that Jasmine was talking about in season 1, episode 12, that they didn't want to know the Elijah situation. But he's back, and he's like, sorry about everything that happened, and So anyway, other than that, Dennis and Dahlia are trying to do some more stuff to get Dennis back out there. But Dennis doesn't even want to be interested in this, even though he and Dahlia are doing these things with his legs. He gets on a bus, he just walks off, gets on a bus, like, bro, she's trying to help you, and he's like, hey, and she's like, hey, there's this meeting for grieving people, and he's like, hey, I'll go if you stop with this, and she's like, yeah. So that's where Dahlia runs into Callie at the coterie, where Callie is basically drunk off her mind, and is basically drunk, and she's basically like, Dahlia's like, Callie's like, hey, how's everything going with your job? Callie's like, hey, how's everything going with Jeff? And she's like, hey, Jeff is just been backlash about everything, about cheating on his wife, and he wants her to move back so they can be together. But Callie's like, hey, instead of moving back with him, break up with him by saying you won't move. Break up with him by saying you won't move back, and your problem will be solved. And she's like, are you drunk? And she's like, yeah. And she's like, okay. So Dennis and Dahlia go to this meeting where Dennis leaves early while Dahlia goes to talk with Jeff, and Dahlia decides to go with Callie's idea of saying that she doesn't want to move to Fishburg or move back to Wisconsin, but her plan kind of backfires because Jeff says, okay, you don't want to move to Wisconsin, but just all move to LA. We can be there then. And she's like, yeah, her plan totally backfired there. And by the time she goes goes back to the meeting where Dennis was supposed to be at. The guy says, "Hey, Dennis kind of left halfway at the start of the meeting," and Davia's like, "Oh, he broke my promise." Davia is like, and Davia and Dennis is like, "Hey, I don't want you. You can't fix me. I don't want you to help me." And she's like, "I'm not trying to help you. I'm trying to help you to make sure you help yourself. But not even you can do that." So yeah. So don't know. So meanwhile, I speculate. I speculate. I speculate. Mariana is trying to build build her team and build her team, and she's asked Raj to do it, and of course, Raj says yes. But one night, Mariana and Raj are about to are about to sleep together. Are about to sleep together. Yeah, they're about to sleep together, and that's when Evan sees them sleeping together, and basically next day goes to Angela and is like, "Hey, I need to talk to you." And then Angela is like, "Hey, why don't we make up this rule that for this new team that no one can date anyone from our old team, anyone from their old team, or everyone that no one can date anyone that works on their old team or works under them." And Mariana's like, everyone's like, agreed, but Mariana just agreed. She's like, ooh crap. She was about to ask Raj to her team, and now she can't date. Actually, she could ask him, but she can't date him. Well, yeah, she could ask him or she couldn't. I don't know. It's just oh crap for Mariana. This means trouble's coming. But anyway, that does that wrap up everything? Does that wrap up everything in this episode? It kind of does. But this episode was still really good. I liked, yeah. Actually, no, it doesn't. Because Callie gets a call. Actually, wait, it doesn't. There is one more scene where Callie goes to see, Callie goes to see one of the job people, and they're like, "Hey, why'd you stop working for Curtis Wilson? Before that you worked for Curtis Wilson, why'd you stop?" And she's like, I wanted to change law, I wanted to change it, but working for him and working for another month at that clerkship wouldn't have changed anything." And she's like, "Okay, then we'll hire you." And then Callie's getting fitted in her lawsuit uniform. And then when she goes home, she discovers that she failed the exam on one of her jobs and goes crying to Jamie. And that basically, she goes crying. She goes to cry, and since she and Jamie are kind of together, since she and Jamie are dating, she kind of cries to him, and Jamie says he loves her. So anyway, that kind of wraps up this episode of Good Trouble. I really enjoyed this one. It was a really interesting episode. I'm glad I got to do this episode because Drunk Callie was kind of funny. How she gave Davia that advice, and then Davia said, "Are you drunk?" And she was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Okay." That was kind of funny to me. But the plan that Callie kind of gave Davia kind of backfired on Callie, because it kind of backfired on Davia, because Callie gave her the advice, and Davia used it, so it kind of backfired on Davia. So, yeah. So, what's going to happen is Jeff's trying to break up with him, but he only says, hey, he'll move to Wisconsin. He'll move from Wisconsin, and Jeff loves Fishburg, so that's why she wanted to. Yeah. But anyway, that wraps up this episode. Hope you like, comment, subscribe. Hope you guys have a wonderful night, and I'll see you next time for another travel. Good travel.